Dollar in dollar last week. Is it going to continue this week again? Well, let's dive into the chart and find out for ourselves. Last week, we closed with a bullish candle for the second consecutive week on dollar index. You know, price has been ranging for quite some time, as we can see here. Price ranged for a couple of times and we finally got this bullish engulfing candle. And if you watched last week's video, you remember I told you that with this bullish engulfing candle we spotted on the dollar index, I'll be expecting a subsequent second bullish month. A subsequent second bullish week, right? And that was exactly what we got. You can see by the color and size of this candle that closed for last week. So what should we be expecting next week? Well, let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, you will notice we have created a new higher high, breaking above these highs here, right? This one is higher than these previous ones, as you can see. So what should we be expecting for next week? As traders, we should be expecting bullish continuation. Now that we have a bullish market structure forming, right? So we should look for continuous bullish price movement, at least until we get into this price area here on the dollar index. Looks like we also have a zone here that we cannot overlook. Let me just put this here. You can see if we look left, price reacted to this zone previously. So we should look at this zone first. So if we are able to breach this zone, then we'll look at this zone as our next level target. But for now, this is where we should be looking at. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is I'll be expecting dollar to rise into this zone next week. We all know that price cannot continue moving in a specific direction, whether up or down. I say this in all my videos, right? When there's an impulsive move like you can see here, you always should be expecting price to give you a pullback so that you can do what? Jump on the trade. Now, when these pullbacks happen, pullbacks are good, guys. Pullbacks are good. Many people don't know this. Pullbacks are very good. Now, what the opportunities they provide us with are, number one, if you are not already in the trade, it gives you an opportunity to join the trade, right? And number two, if you have an open position previously, it provides you with another opportunity to open another position to add to your profit targets. So now, after we've seen this impulsive move on the dollar index, creating a higher high in the process, as you can see, then of course, at some point, price must pull back. And Friday last week happened to be that day for that pullback. So as you can see, that was why we closed this this Friday's candlestick, because this is the daily time frame. That was why we closed this Friday's candlestick with a bearish candlestick. But before I continue, guys, I know I've been saying this for quite some time now, but as from next week, guaranteed, we are going to start our live session. And this live session, we are going to be coming back here to do a quick recap on what we've talked about on our weekly videos, right? Because price is dynamic, right? Price is dynamic, as we all know. Price is unpredictable. So I'm going to come here at least once or twice within the week to give you updates on what I am looking on my charts, all right? And if possible, if there's a trading opportunity while we're live, we can always jump on it together and make money off the market, right? That sounds great, right? So if you're not subscribed to this channel, do so now, as exciting things will be rolling in systematically as we progress. So is there any need going to the 4-hour time frame on the dollar index? Yes, let's just look at what is happening. Okay, it looks the same like the daily time frame we've created. As you can even notice, on the 4-hour time frame, we are creating higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, right? And as you can see, price came into that broken zone and it looks like we are getting a massive rejection. So, but I'll be waiting till next week open so that we see what price does next. Let me see if we can catch trend line here. Okay, I think this looks good. So as you can see, price is reacting to the third touch of that trend line. This is the first touch, second touch, and this is the third touch, right? So for next week anyways, I'll be expecting bullish US dollar. So that said, let's go to some dollar pairs, starting with the EURUSD. And on the EURUSD, we are going to start from the weekly time frame. As you can see, we've closed the third consecutive week with a bearish candle. So what should I be expecting next week? I'll still be expecting bearish continuation, at least into this zone. Why this zone? Is simply because price had reacted to this zone before pushing price lower, right? So I'll be expecting when price come back there, we'll be expecting some kind of a reaction. I'll be using this zone as my profit target on EURUSD, all right? So since we are not there yet, I'll still be looking for bearish price action to bring us there. Now to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I'm actually looking at this trend line this trend line below, this particular trend line, as my profit target. And that is why I put this little array here, and I'm looking at 1.07015 as my profit target. I'll always update this chart if the need arises. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Now, before I go to the 4-hour time frame, why am I looking at this zone as my target? You can see price created a triple top. I don't know that chart pattern called the triple top. I mean, price rejected this zone like 3 times previously before dropping. Price attempted to break, failed, attempted the second time to break, failed, attempted the third time to fail, and attempted the third time to break, and still failed. And what happened after that? Price collapsed completely. And as you can see, we are creating lower lows. I mean, this was the previous low when price was on its way up. And as you can see, we've closed below that zone. We've also closed below this market structure, right? So what happened on Friday was mainly a pullback. I'll be expecting price to drop into this trend line before we do either of two things. Before we either push higher, but if we break below, then we'll go further lower on EURUSD. All right, let's look at the 4-hour time frame. My 4-hour time frame looks messy. Let me just clean up my charts. So if you're on the Telegram group, you remember I have been calling EURUSD short from this after we broke below this trend line and gave it a retest, right? And ever since, you can see how massive price has collapsed, right? So if I go to the 1-hour time frame, because I can't spot anything clearly on the 4-hour time frame, I sent out this chart on Friday in the Telegram group. And that reminds me, guys, if you're not on the Telegram group, do yourself a favor right now and join the Telegram channel. This is the link on your screen. The link is also in the description of this video down below, right? So I sent out this chart. I was like, when price comes into this resistance zone that confluence with this trend line that happens to be the top touch of that trend line, I'll be expecting price to collapse on this pair. Well, price came into that zone. We jumped in on this trade. I actually took some quick profits around here because I was also skeptical because I knew it was Friday and price can be crazy on Fridays, guys. If you even remember, I warned you that, guys, break even your trade because this is Friday. I mean, price has been collapsing for the best part of last week. Those that traded in the direction of the market are taking their profits, right? And what will happen when they're taking their profits? You see spikes, you see instability in the market. Well, price moved in our direction for a bit, and I knew what was going to happen that Friday, and I secured some profit. Like, I moved my stop loss into my my profit area, and when price reversed, it stopped me out in profit. And you know what? I'm fine because I already made a lot of money on AUDUSD. You guys on the Telegram channel know, right? As you can see, price broke above it, but it looks like we are going below, still respecting that zone. Well, next week I'll still be expecting price to keep dropping all the way to the downside. What I'm trying to say is EURUSD, I remain bearish for next week. GBPUSD from the weekly time frame closed with a bearish candle. If you remember last 2 weeks, is it 2 weeks? I mean, during this week, yeah, that was last 2 weeks. I told you about this zone that I'll be expecting price to come into this zone and give us a massive rejection. And as you can see, that has happened, right? And now this is the second week we are closing with a bearish candlestick in a row. So what should I be expecting next week? I should be expecting price to come into this trend line that I plotted here. It's not clear here. When we go to the daily time frame, you see it clearly. So I'll be expecting price to come into that zone. However, if we go to the daily time frame, price is actually sitting on this support zone. And this support zone is a strong support zone. It was formerly a strong resistance zone that price has reacted to significantly. Now price is on that support zone, and that was why we didn't see that massive drop on GBPUSD. But do I expect price to keep blasting up from this zone? It is a possibility, but I'll still be expecting that bearish push at least to this trend line before that happens. Because if you look closely, we still have a zone around here. So I still will be expecting price to at least come back to this trend, come down to this trend line, rather, come down to this trend line before we push higher. And this was how I plotted that trend line from this zone, capture this zone, and I plotted it into the future with the hopes that price is going to come back into it. Now, when price comes back into it, we could see price reject that zone and keep pushing higher. But if we break, guys, then I'm trading all the way to the downside. So next week on GBPUSD, I am still bearish. But however, we'll see some pullbacks before that happens. All right. Now, if we go to the 4-hour time frame, on the 4-hour time frame, just like the EURUSD, I've been calling short from this zone, right? I even remember when price was going higher, I said this is my final destination, and as you can see, price came into that zone, give us a massive rejection, and price has been dropping ever since. And I also sent out to the Telegram channel that I was expecting price to react to this zone. Well, on the 1 hour time frame, price did react to that zone, but finally blasted up. Just typical of Friday's price move, especially when price has moved in a specific direction throughout the week. In most cases, on Fridays, price will most likely want to pull back, want to give that retracement. And why does this happen? It is simply because people are taking out their profit from the market. So you will see that massive pullbacks on Fridays. It is absolutely normal. All right. So for next week, what will I be expecting? If price fails to continue dropping from this particular zone to this zone, then I'll be expecting price to at least pull up into this zone for the first 2 days of next week. Then from this zone, I'll be expecting a sell-off to this downside here. All right. And if it doesn't happen, I'll always give you updates on the Telegram channel. And like I said, we'll be having live sessions next week. So we can always come back here and reanalyze and look for new trading opportunities on whatever pairs we are looking at the moment. Right. So that brings us. So for next week on GBPUSD, I am still bearish. Whether we have a pullback, I'm still bearish. Whether we'll continue dropping from here, I am still bearish. But if you are not already in this trade now, how do you join this trade? Let me even give you how to join. Let me give you an idea of how to join this trade if you are not yet on this trade. How do we join this trade if you are not yet on this trade? I'm not seeing any zone on the 1 hour time frame, so I will go all the way down to the 15 minutes time frame. So here we are on the 15 minutes time frame. I'm just going to plot this counter trend line. So I'll plot this counter trend line like this. Is there anyone I can capture here? Let me see. This looks like, so I've broken, but I'm just going to leave this. Capture here, then this zone, and push it here. So what I'll do next week is, if price breaks below this zone here, I'll wait for a retest. Then if I see a good bearish sell-off, then I'll join my stop loss above. Then my take profit will be all the way down below. There's a trend line from the daily time frame, so that will be my profit target. All right. But if price keeps pushing to this zone, just like I pinpointed on the 4 hour time frame, to this zone, which is around 1.25000 area, then I'll be looking for bearish continuation from that zone there. Like I said, I'll give you updates as price progresses. All right. Now let's go to AUDUSD. AUDUSD, I still have an open position on this trade. I already added and closed some of my positions on this trade, but I still have this overall position opened on this trade. So I want to hold this one up. I opened last Monday and see how far it goes. I'm at break even anyway, so I'm trading risk free on this pair at the moment. So let's start from the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame, as a matter of fact, AUDUSD is confused at the moment. You know, just like I pinpointed in my last video, I'm talking about last week's video, I emphasized on this particular price area where price is giving us bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish colors of candlesticks. As you can see, last week we closed with this massive bearish candlestick. This week again, we close with a green candlestick, which signifies bullish candlestick, right? And I usually don't like this type of setup, right? It's confusing. This is a ranging market from the weekly time frames perspective. But anyways, if we go to a daily time frame, I'm still bearish on this pair. How bearish are we? I'm bearish at least till we come into this zone here, which is 0.65846. I'm hoping that price will come into this zone by next week. Well, that is a possibility, but going bullish from this particular current price area is also a possibility, right? But I am more bearish than bullish at this moment, simply because if we come down to the 4 hour time frame, you see we've been creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high. We are yet to create a new higher high on this pair. So maybe my bias may start changing when we now have a new higher high, right? So for me to determine if price is going to keep pushing higher, I'll be expecting price to come and take out this market structure here, not even this one, so that I can know for a fact that price is going to keep going higher. So if price breaks above this zone here, this particular price area, so I'll be and give us a pullback, then I'll be expecting price to continue going higher. All right, but for now I'm still super bearish because we are still creating lower lows and lower highs. So if you are not already in this trade, how do you join this trade? How do you join this bearish move? Before I show you that, you can notice also how price has used this particular price area as levels of support and resistance historically. So if you're not already in this trade and price is committed to going bearish, how do you join? Then I'm just going to plot this little counter trend line here. Maybe I should go to the 30 minutes time frame because this 1 hour is looking funny at the moment. So I'm just going to plot this and this here like this. So if price comes and take out this trend line, then gives us a pullback, then I see selling pressure, then I'm going to sell, add to my selling position on AUDUSD, at least to that zone I pinpointed on the higher time frame, which is the 4-hour time frame, which is 0.65846. So on AUDUSD as it stands, I am bearish. What about gold? Gold, how did we close last week? We closed with a massive bearish candle last week. And if you remember, in my last 2 weeks video, I talked about gold continuing the bearish push to the downside, and that was exactly what we saw last week. Now on the daily time frame, typical Friday movement after dropping for the best part of last week, typical Friday movement, we saw a moment of profit taking, right? So does that mean price may start pushing upward from this zone? I'm not expecting that. Even if we are sitting on this support level, I'm not expecting that. I'm still expecting price to come into this trend line. Well, it is also a possibility that we may start pushing higher considering the fact that price has come into this trend line. But with my experience in the market, looking at this trend line forming right below that zone, price is not just going to give you that free money to the upside. It's going to pull back for a bit, but it is going to manipulate. Permit me to use the word manipulate because to me it's not a manipulation. I mean, there's a trend line below here, right? But let me use the word manipulation. I still feel price is going to manipulate its way to this trend line here before we finally push up. Price will not just give you easy money just because price bounced off a daily support level. Because as a matter of fact, if you look at this, price from this zone to this zone, price was creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high, before coming here and creating a new lower low, breaking below this market structure here. So as you can see, we now have a new lower low here. So I'm expecting price to come give us a lower high before pushing down here. So when we get back into this zone, I'll be expecting price to now start blasting to the upside, or if we take out the trend line, then we'll push all the way to the downside here. So on gold, I'm still expecting bearish push to the downside, but of course pullbacks are important. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. I remember that I think on Friday I sent out a chart to the Telegram channel that I'll be expecting price to bounce off this zone. But of course, like I always say, you wait for confirmation. You just don't bounce, you just don't jump into the market. Even seeing, okay, now we look at this massive bullish candle. In fact, an engulfing candle to the upside. I mean, why should you sell? There's no confirmation here, right? So there's no need selling at this point. In fact, I'll show you where to sell if you must sell. Now we are down to the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, I've been able to spot a zone where I could plot my trend line. And as you can see, I captured this zone and this zone and this zone, right? So what should I be expecting? Now my next area where I'll be expecting bearish continuation on gold after price has tested this zone multiple times historically, where I'll be expecting bearish continuation will be here at the third touch of this trend line. All right, at the third touch of this trend line. So that's where I'll be expecting continuous bearish push. But if we now break above, what happens, guys? At that point, there will be a need for me to give you an update on the Telegram group or on our YouTube live next week. So with this, we've come to the end of this week's video. If you want to take your trading career to the next level, our mentorship programs can help you achieve that. Just visit letstrade10x.com. Link is also in the description of this video down below. And if you are not interested, it is totally fine. So just make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Thanks for staying to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.